Good evening, and thank you for joining us in this 269th edition of the Lambda Report. Next to me is Terralyn Moore.
And by my side is Paul Peterson.
In the wake of Greg Louganis' disclosure of his HIV status, Fulton County, Georgia Commission Chairman Mitch Skandelakis said Friday that he wants to require all amateur athletes competing in his county to disclose if they carry the HIV virus. Skandelakis has asked the county's lawyers to determine whether the local government has the authority to pass such a law. If they are carrying the virus, they should be barred from competition, Skandelakis said. He added that the public health risk outweighs the privacy aspects of the issue. Atlanta Olympic officials said they have no control over determining which athletes will be allowed to compete in the Games. After Louganis' admission that he has AIDS, International Olympic Committee officials said they would not require AIDS testing or disclosure for the 1996 Olympics. Furthermore, they contend that there was no reason for Louganis to have informed officials or doctors of his infection. Next up is Rick Sendo with a commentary about a man who is very dear to gay Coloradans. Let's take a look.
For those of you who have never heard of Mel White, let me start with a brief introduction. Mel White grew up in a heavy fundamentalist home and was by all accounts the best little boy around. As an adult, he became a fundamentalist minister and PhD, a top religious film producer, author, professor. He even ghostwrote the autobiographies of Pat Robertson and Jerry Falwell. During all those years, however, White was struggling with a secret that would not go away. He tried counseling, prayer and fasting, even electric shock therapy. After 30 years of pain and struggling, White came to a realization. No matter what the church said about homosexuals, God made Mel White as a gay man, and White decided that it was time to embrace what God made him, not run from it or try to hide it. 2.5 weeks ago, the Reverend White tried to approach one of his old bosses. With a group of gay and straight clergy, White went to Pat Robertson's CBN Center in Virginia Beach. White's message? Stop spreading unchristian lies and hatred against gay people. Robertson's response was to have White arrested and thrown in jail for criminal trespass. And jail is right where the Reverend Mel White is tonight. From jail, White has asked Robertson to condemn violence against gay people, and White has said he will not eat until Robertson has done so. So far, Pat Robertson refuses to condemn such violence. White has not eaten in the last 17 days. The following is part of a letter that Reverend White wrote from jail earlier this week. Brothers and sisters, your cards, letters, and email hard copies are delivered to me almost every day through the food slot in my thick steel door. And though no solid food has come through that slot, I have gorged on your thoughtful, loving letters. What a great and rapidly growing family we are. With our faithful friends and determined supporters who are heterosexual, we can't see ourselves as just the gay community anymore. The letters neatly stacked under my steel bunk come from PFLAG members and other parents, friends, and family who support our just cause with energy and courage. They come from various open and affirming churches and synagogues and other clergy and laity who refuse to let anyone try to limit God's love for all her children. And they come from just plain Americans who are tired of the extremist rhetoric, sick of the discrimination, and determined to help end the suffering. Of course, the letters that invariably move me the most are from people who are just taking their first brave, tentative steps out of the closet. I'm so proud of you. Don't waste any time looking back. Life is just beginning. Welcome home. Reverend White's story is one of coming out of the closet and confronting his former oppressors, confronting them not with anger and accusation, but with love and truth. White's actions represent thousands of less dramatic but equally courageous acts that now occur in this nation every day. It is these individual acts of truth and courage, more than anything else, that will defeat the anti-gay lies of Pat Robertson, Colorado for Family Values, and the rest of the religious right.
You know, Terry, I read just recently over the internet that the Reverend White has lost over 5% of his body weight.
Wow, that's amazing. The Lambda Report will keep you apprised of his progress. In Los Angeles, rights activists and civil libertarians have told the LAPD that they would not tolerate anti-gay harassment by the city police officers. The warnings come after a photographer and reporter witnessed the abuse of a homeless gay man. The photographer and reporter also said that there were 7 other officers that stood there and did nothing about the incident. "We have a message," said Lori Jean of the LA Gay and Lesbian Center. "We will not tolerate hate crimes being perpetrated against our people by the LAPD. There are other alleged incidents being investigated by the ACLU of Southern California." LAPD officials said an internal affairs investigation had been started. Recently, the Lambda Report spoke with the directors of PAWS Denver, a new organization with the goal of keeping AIDS patients and their pets together. Here's a look at that interview.
We're speaking with Christopher Volmar and Dan Remus, two of the co-directors of a new service organization in Denver called PAWS. Tell us, Chris, what is PAWS?
Well, PAWS is an acronym. It stands for Pets Are Wonderful Support. And it's something that is desperately needed in Denver. It's something that is part of communities in San Francisco, in Washington, D.C., small communities like Oklahoma City and Portland, Maine, Louisville, Kentucky. And I'd gone down to the CAP office because I wanted to do some community service and very specifically wanted to work with pets. And my caseworker at CAP said, well, we don't have that. And there's nothing like that in Colorado. And so I said, I'm going to start it. And she said, good luck.
Dan, why do you feel that there's a need for an organization like PAWS here in Denver?
Well, being a pet owner and a lover myself, I can answer that question very easily as far as a need to have a pet with me. I think of any of our community who has had or does have a pet now, they realize the importance of the companionship that that pet gives them. So when you take an individual who has become ill, who perhaps is bedridden or can't get out of their house on a daily basis, has maybe lost contact with some of their friends or their family, one of the most important things in their daily life is the companionship that their pet brings them. However, added to their illness is the stress that, how am I going to take care of my dog? How am I going to walk my dog today? Or I can't clean my cat's litter box. How am I going to provide the care that my pet needs to give back to my pet what they've given to me?
You know, it's such an important bond, and we try and do everything we can to make sure that's continued.
Some of the services we'll be providing to reach that goal could be walking your dog every day. It could be cleaning litter boxes for your cats or your bird cages, your fish tank. We also will be providing some food supplementary donations. We will be helping with financial assistance for veterinary care, helping your pets maintain their annual inoculations, assist